Hello. Today is Friday, the 5th of September. Let's get into today's Minute Cryptic by Jeff. 51 trillion liters to be precise. 7 letters. Well, yesterday's one had Roman numerals in it, and I totally didn't see that. So let's try this one with Roman numerals first. So 51 is LI. Trillion? Well, that could be TR. Liters is LI. So that, based on that, if you're precise with something, you're being literal, which has the 51 TRI for trillion, L for liters. Not quite sure where the A came into it. Might have to watch the video to see where the A is. But I believe that's the spelling of literal. Let's have a check. Okay, so I spelled it wrong. Okay, so I gotta double check my spelling. Don't it can't be O. No. Okay, so I got the right word in the mind, but having the spelling wrong. So let's think. How do you spell literal? Could be literary. Could it be literary? Literary? Literary. No. Okay. Got the idea right. Just got to get the words spelled correctly. 51 trillion. Liters is L. And that's not how you spell it. So what am I missing? To be precise. Okay. Let's have a look. Uh, Literal. How do you spell that? Oh, trillion. Instead of trillion, it's terror? Is that what trillion is? Because I was thinking TR. Okay, definitely got to watch it to see. There we go. All right, let's have a watch of the video to see what I've got.
This cryptic crossword clue is 51 trillion litres, to be precise. And this clue comes to us from one of our members, Jeff Whoop. Thank you, Jeff. I love the surface of this clue. 51 trillion litres, to be precise. But I found this kind of a hard clue. That's why we've put it on Friday. Friday's kind of our day for clues that we think are hard. But the reason I think it's hard is because it requires so much substitution. And I know from hearing from so many of you for so long now that you find substitution one of the harder tricks in cryptic crossword clues, and I do too. I just find it harder than letter manipulation. And that's actually influenced the book. Oh, it's so exciting. The book, I've got to promote it. But basically, a lot of guides put substitutions and synonyms right near the start when they're teaching cryptic crossword clues. But people find it the hardest. And so we put it kind of in the second half of the book, and the first half of the book is all about letter manipulation, and only after all of that do we introduce what we call wordplay, which is when you sub in synonyms and abbreviations. So we do find it hard, I agree. So this clue is a bit hard, but there are some easier parts to it, and you can kind of build your intuition and work your way through it. In fact, one of the substitutions I didn't even get until after I solved the clue. So let's work through it together. The easiest substitution, I think, is 51, because anytime you see a number in cryptic crossword clues, you should at least try to substitute it with its Roman numeral. And here the Roman numeral for 51 is Li. And that's going to mean that the definition is at the other end of our clue with precise. And so we're looking for a word for precise that probably starts with Li. And then we have the word trillion, which seems like it could be another substitutable word. Surely there are letters or smaller collection could represent trillion, but I couldn't think what that was. And so I kind of gave up on that. I just set it aside and moved on. And I saw liters, and liters, again, another word that seems like it should have an abbreviation. And it does. L is a very common abbreviation for liters. If you saw a 2-liter bottle of milk, it would probably say 2L on it. And so now we've got Li, something that can mean trillion, and then another L, probably meaning precise. Can you think of a word within those constraints that can mean precise? How about the word literal? And that is our answer. But once you find the answer, you then have to reverse the word. Does it work? Can trillion somehow be represented by TERA? And you realize, of course it can. A terabyte is a trillion bytes.
Data.
Like
I didn't think about using data.
Is a billion bytes. Tera is another way of saying trillion, and literal is another way of saying price.
Well, there you go. Tera for terabytes, L for liters, Roman numerals. Glad I remember that from yesterday's clue. And my streak is kept alive. Thank you for watching.